Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, to this brand new edition of the Questionable Album Club, the podcast where this beautiful panel of music fans we attempt to blow the dust off some of rock's curios, failures, and generally perceived missteps. Before we go to our top 10, let's just introduce our panel for today. We've got Steenie. Hi, Steenie.
Good evening. Yeah.
Unwell today, aren't you, Steenie? You're not very well. You've got your lemsip and you're off
I've
work.
got my lemsip in my hat, so yeah, I am weathering the storm of chest infections as the annual bout.
Well, thank you for doing this anyway, Steve. We appreciate it. We've got Ross English. Hi, Ross.
Good evening. I'm fit and firing.
Excellent, excellent. And we've got the two Steves, Steve Sackett and Steve Gibson. Do you want to say hello at the same time in a sort of Steve?
Hello.
Hello. That didn't go well, did it?
No.
It was perfect. Both of whom are Leeds United fans, and Leeds are 2-0 up at half time against Manchester United away. So
Yes.
if you two get distracted during this podcast, we shall completely understand. And if Steenie, you fall over,
Okay.
me and Ross will just hold the fort. Right, we have a top 10 of this wonderful thing that we do. And Steve, it's your turn. We mark all our albums out of 100, and this is our top 10. So, Steve, do you want to do a little rundown?
Number 10. Oh, it's dropped is Motorhead and the Manticore Tapes. Number 9 is Grinder Man 2. Number 8 is a Slayer album. Number 7 is a Van Halen album. Number 6 is brilliant, unbelievably, Clutching at Straws. Rolling Stones, then Yes, then The Doors. Crazy Happy Mondays at number 2, and still holding out at number 1 is Rick Wakeman with the Six Wives of Henry VIII.
Very good indeed. Yes, the new entry to our top 10 is the Marillion album, which you liked that, Steve. You loved it.
I don't. Well,
So today, Steve Hackett, it was your choice. We've got a captain. We haven't done Captain Beefheart before. It's Blue Jeans and Moonbeams. Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, their 9th studio album from 1974. Their second for Mercury. I won't explain who Captain Beefheart. Captain Beefheart was a very idiosyncratic avant-garde blues poet, painter, a very seminal figure in kind of on the in experimental rock, I suppose, in the 60s and 70s. And this his most famous album is a double album from 1969 called Trout Mask Replica on Frank Zappa Straight label. Which is one of the most sort of iconic pieces of art, I suppose, from the 20th century. And this, the 9th studio album, the album. See, this was the two Mercury albums, Unconditionally Guaranteed, the one before this one, and then this was the second and most hated of his albums. This is where he increasingly, after Trout Mask Replica, all the musicians wanted to get paid, and so Captain Beefheart was like, well, okay, let's try and be more commercial. And after Unconditionally Guaranteed, the entire Magic Band left to be replaced by what became known as the Tragic Band, and that's the album for one album only, and that's the album today. So I presume that's why you chose it, Steve.
Pretty much so. I mean, of the two of them, this one's probably, the most varied. There's more to get your teeth into, and because it's not the Magic Band, is it? It's a bunch of we're doing a bit of reading, just a bunch of West Coast pickup session players who are very good. And it just seemed like the perfect choice. I wasn't aware of this album until all those shitty sort of CD copies came out, 25 years ago. I mean, I remember, I've been a lifelong fan, ever since, God, it'll have been Peel playing Big Eyed Beans from Venus, I remember. And I was just like about 15 or something. I just thought it was the greatest thing ever. Went out and bought Clear Spots as soon as I could, which is a good entry point, I think, to Beefheart, worked my way back. Had my mind blown, as a lot of people did, by Trout Mask Replica and the best album, in my opinion, that he's ever done, which is Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller. And I wasn't even aware of these two albums, they weren't, he probably disowned them, they weren't in print or anything like that, you just couldn't get hold of them. And it wasn't until about 25 years ago, I remember there was a Peel session and Mercury Rev did a cover of Observatory Crest. I'd never heard it before, I was thinking, oh, God, right, this is interesting. I think the White Stripes covered one of them as well, Party Special Things to Do. And you're thinking, okay, fine. Went out and paid about $16.99 for one of those cheap fucking CDs. Awful quality. And listened to it about once, maybe twice, I think, and did what most Beefheart fans didn't just dismiss it outright because it didn't sound like what I thought Beefheart was meant to be, and didn't really listen to it. I haven't listened to it for ages and ages and ages. I just thought it'd be a perfect choice.
And here we are. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Steve Gibson, Beefheart, this record.
Yeah. I don't really talk about Beefheart because I always come over quite negative about him, but I'm a huge fan. But I'm negative. I sound negative about him because I think musically he's a touch overrated and he's a bit of a one-trick pony. He's always.
Hang on, Steve. How can you say you're a huge fan, but you're going to be really negative about him? You think he's a one-trick
No,
pony?
I said I always sound negative. I don't like talking about it because I always sound negative, and the reason I sound negative is because I'm just being honest about him. But I like him. Yeah, of course, I'm a huge fan. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I'm not, but I'm not. You know, when I say fan, when you say the word fan, people think it's just unconditional. But I'm not a fan like that. I can see people's voice and I can be objective about it, which I can with him. I can very much be objective with him. I think he's musically, he's not trained in any way musically. You don't know you have to be, but it always is the stuff I gravitate to, and I think his best stuff is when he was in collaboration with either Frank Zappa or when Frenchie was kind of MD in the band and stuff like that, someone to lean on. In fact, on this album, the two albums, French was interviewed and he was saying how, and I completely agree with him, how tragic it sounds because there's no. He's floundering. He's just sort of wheeled out and he's doing what he does and then sort of wheeled off again in the hope of like connecting somewhere. And it's a bit tragic. But on the whole, Beefheart, yeah, But again, with Beefheart, I'd say what's interesting is because the massive Bongo Fury thing's just come out, which is an album I love. Which interestingly, it's basically the Frank Zappa album with the and you talk and then Frank Zappa obviously old friends and he always sticks up for him, but when the interviews I've read with like Terry Bozzio and John Ahern and the other guys in the band on that tour were saying now it was just a nightmare. He had a bag with two harmonicas in his underpants and they had to like make sure he got to the airport every day, and which is funny and it's all great rock and roll stories, but if you're on that tour and you have to organize him, then it's sort of a pain in the ass. Bit like the Daltrey book when he talks about Keith Moon, which I quite enjoyed him saying, yeah, it's all very well. Everyone loves the stories about him driving a Rolls Royce into a swimming pool, but when you've finished the tour and you don't get paid because it's your money's had to cover all of his antics, it's not quite so funny. So that's what I generally am with Beefheart. But yeah, it was a quite a painful listen. I've not heard it for years for very good reason, and I found it quite a painful and sad thing to have to do this for this pod.
Yeah, well, I mean, if that's how Zappa and his band felt, imagine how the Magic Band must have felt after that
Well, I know,
psychological
yeah,
physical abuse of Trout Mask, and then it's awful, isn't it? It was kind of abusive.
Yeah.
And Bongo Fury, that the Zappa collaboration was the one straight after this, wasn't it? And
yeah,
75, and then
I think Zappa was doing kind of
which Zappa's manager refused to release. He held hostage for like years and years and years. Anyway, we'll come on to this. Yeah. Ross, I can't. I think this is quite. I think Steve Hackett, you've lucked into it. You've got quite a Beefheart friendly panel here. I'm suspecting, but I'm not sure. Ross, we're about to find out. Ross is the only one who I think who might destroy this.
No, I like Beefheart.
Okay.
I do. I can never, but I don't know. I've got a bit of a funny relationship with his music because I can't decide whether I'm a fan or an admirer, with a subtle difference between the two. I mean, there is some stuff I really enjoy. I mean, I think Safe as Milk is just a really enjoyable album, and I'm gonna probably kick against the pricks here and say that I like Unconditionally Guaranteed. I think that's an enjoyable album, and those are ones I can just enjoy. And then Troutmask Replica, which is the only one I own physically. It's probably a good job that you can't get it streaming everywhere. I noticed, and I put it on this week, and I had the same reaction. I do it that I think it's an astonishing piece of work, but after about 20 minutes, I have to stop and have a rest because I'm always like battered by the genius of it, and I find it overwhelming, and I get to the point where I'm just not enjoying this anymore. It's almost too much, and I have to have a break of half an hour, and then I'll come back and I'll do another 15, 20 minutes. And I at the end of it, while I can really admire what he's doing and think it's fantastic in a way, I don't think I've really enjoyed it. I think his albums tend to fall in either of those categories. I mean, the only one I think sort of hits that sweet spot for me is Clear Spot, where I think I can admire it and I can enjoy it, and I can come out thinking that was unique and it was enjoyable. So it depends where you sort of throw the dart and land on the Beefheart dartboard, whether I'm someone who really likes his music or someone who really admires his music. So I don't ever know quite what to think of him.
Very good, very interesting. Yeah, I completely agree with you regarding Clear Spot. It's the perfect commercial Beefheart meets the radical Beefheart, and it sounds amazing. Steenie.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a Beefheart fan and admirer. Yeah, I totally get what Ross is saying. There is a bit of that where I think we're told a lot of times that Captain Beefheart's a genius, and I think if you were to say to like someone who'd never heard any Captain Beefheart, this guy's a genius, then played like something off Mirror Man or something, they would be like, what a 20-minute blues jam. It's so you have to pick your moments with him, I think. And what's funny about choosing this record is that one of my records that I had in my mind for this pod, and I'd sort of discounted it, is Unconditionally Guaranteed, because that's also considered, like we said, one of the low points, one of his questionable albums by his fans. And it's same as Ross. I'm actually a fan of that record. I do like it, and I thought I can't choose it because I'll just come on and just be praising it. I'm too familiar with it. And similarly with this one, I do know this record, and I do have my copy of it here. Stand well back. I also have my own conditioning guaranteed as well. The two dubious ones here.
His brother did the artwork, didn't he? His brother did the.
Yeah. So it's the deer on there. I think is it a deer? It's quite fun. It's quite a fun cover actually, but
it's not a is it? What's a camel in a 90? What's the first
well,
line?
Yeah, that's that bit.
The camel wears a 90. Yeah.
The first thing he says. But yeah. So my sort of background with Beefheart was I was introduced to Captain Beefheart by a friend of my dad's, who came around to our house. Was this guy called Paul Tucker? He's quite a character. He was a computer engineer who looked a bit like Captain Beefheart. He had this enormous moustache, like very sculpted and waxed in a time when no one else had a moustache like that in the 80s. He came around and he was a fan of all this. He introduced me to quite a lot of odd music. He was a fan of Hawkwind, and he got me into that Captain Lockheed and the Starfighters album as well. I remember him making a tape of that, giving me it. But he came to our house once and told a really rude story around the dinner table of all my brothers and sisters there about Beefheart and Zappa. That was like had a really offensive punchline, and I laughed, and my mum was just completely gobsmacked. And I was like, this Beefheart character's worth investigating. And I already sort of knew Zappa a bit, and I sort of gone down. So went the record you could get at that time was Safe as Milk. That was the one that was everywhere, and I think they'd just done that reissue on CD. So I went out and got that, and that was my introduction. And it's a good place to start because it's got lots of it is because it is the start basically, but it's also got lots of the things that make him unique. That sort of like disregard for time signatures, but rooting in the blues at the same time. So it's kind of like abstract blues, isn't it? It's hard to really pin it down, but the roots of his sound, and yeah, it struck a chord with me. And then I progressed, and obviously Trout Mask Replica, and yeah, that is one of those records where I think you listen to it to appreciate it as much as you do to enjoy it. But it is still great. And it reminds me a lot of the music that I listen to when my mum would say, "You've listened to this for enjoyment. Do you enjoy listening to this?" And to which I'd always say yes, but then sometimes I wasn't quite so sure. And but yeah, I think obviously like with nearly every musician, that I seem to like. There's an element to him as personality wise that sort of grates in the way he treated his band members. The kind of I don't think he was quite as helpless as he always made out. I think he was just a lazy bastard sometimes and a bit of a Mr. Skimpole sort of character, like from Dickens. That kind of I'm just a child. Oh, I don't need you know just and
Well,
just
he'd never
basically
rehearsed. He'd never rehearsed with the band, really. That was the thing that the band would always complain about. He would just come in at the
yeah.
last minute and
But
just like,
I think that is a kind of like sort of selfishness in it, and you can make out that oh yeah this I just spewed this stuff out and it's your job to be my conduit and all this kind of stuff, and that only goes so far when you're like eating chocolate bars for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and all living in a shared squat. It's while this guy's like living in a nice house and eating well, and
with his
it's
girlfriend.
yeah, spending all that money on birds basically. That's what it was, wasn't it? But um, yeah, it's like it. It's hard to reconcile that, but the two sides of it, his character with the music. But at the same time, do you have to? It's always the same, isn't it? There's always something within the personality of a musician or an artist that you like, and someone will say, "Oh, but they were like this," and you have to just say, "Well, I don't hear that in the music, thankfully." So, you know,
Yeah, and I suppose his legend grew because he retired from music after Ice Cream Crow in 1982
hmm,
and retired to the desert to be a painter in complete anonymity for the rest of his life. I think that kind of what a statement, as
yeah,
almost a definitive creative. It's like I'm just leaving it all behind, and but I think he'd perhaps run out of things to do musically. I mean, maybe.
I think that's
Well, you
probably
did, but
true.
I think also, it ended so well, didn't it? Because, we had that fantastic second iteration of the Magic Band, which was just incredible. The Dock of the Radar Station and Ice Cream for Crow with Gary Lucas and these amazing players on it. Yeah, I thought they were two of his best albums, I think. And then it was just like bam, did a tiny little tour of the UK. I remember I was desperate to go. I was like 15 years old or whatever, 1980, and the nearest thing to me was like Stoke. And I remember my dad saying, "There's no way I'm taking you down to Stoke Wednesday night to see this guy." But I just thought it ended so well, on a
Did you ever see
career
him,
high.
Steve? Did you ever see him live?
Me,
Yeah,
I'm not that fucking old.
you are.
He hardly, he hardly ever toured. That was the last he toured with Ice Cream for Crow in 1980. I was only 15, so I would have killed. It's one of these things I'd have loved to have seen him live, but no,
Ice
I
Cream for
didn't.
Crow's 82, so you might
Was
have.
it?
Yeah,
Oh, well, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, no,
Dock at the radar station was 80. Ice Cream for Crow's
80,
82.
yeah, 82. Yeah. So no, I didn't. No, I'd love to have done.
So when you came
I've
back round
seen
to
I've
this,
seen the Magic Band with drum with French
oh yeah,
playing a couple of times. Once with Steve, yeah, and they were just great, absolutely fantastic. But
and the Magic Band,
not
funnily enough, bringing the Magic Band back to this record, after the Magic Band walked out after Unconditionally Guaranteed and Buckwheat with the band that kind of was the basis of this band, this pickup
oh, was
band
it?
on this. But of
Oh,
course, the Magic Band went on to form this band called Mallard. They made two records.
yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're two, and anyway. Oh, so when you came back round to this and you heard this again after all this time, what did you think of this record?
Well, it's a funny. I mean, because I chose that, I reserve the right to go track by track. I love the first
Don't
track.
go, Steve. Don't go track by track.
I'll be very, very brief.
Okay.
It opens beautifully, doesn't it, with that Camel in a
Yes.
90, and you're just thinking, oh my God, this is like another Beefheart Lost classic. I think the JJ Cale cover it's a great track, isn't it? It's a so-so cover. I absolutely love Observatory Crest, and I don't know why. It's a sort of nothing of a song, really. It just sort of drifts along, but
Those
it
little ballads, those little ballad he does, like her eyes was a million blue miles. Those
that's
beautiful
I was just
songs,
going to say, that's right, yeah,
his little ballads. They're just so weirdly affecting, and I don't know why. I
that's
think
right.
this album has a very strong start.
I think so, and there's a few tracks that have been around since the Clear Spot days. And I love Pompadour Swamp. I've got a bootleg with like some 15-minute blues jam on Pompadour Swamp. It's a completely different song, so it does start really well. I think the real duck's egg thing is that terrible Captain's Holiday thing, isn't it? That even he doesn't remember. No one knows why it's on the album. No one knows who played on it.
It's because they weren't enough songs, and the label said we
Oh,
want another
right.
song, but Beef Van Vliet wasn't involved, so he doesn't even play harmonica on it. So they just went
That's
in and
right.
recorded a song with someone else, and he's not even on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's awful. I can't stand the Evil Door, Rock and Roll Door. Terrible track. Jury's Out on that soul thing's just mad, isn't it? Further, what's it called? Further down the line, further.
Further than we've gone. It's got
It's
a beautiful,
crazy.
beautiful guitar solo. The second half of it, it's got that gorgeous.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's him doing his sort of sounds like Barry White or something. It's just weird to hear him do that sort of thing, and then just drifts into a separate song. I think I love it. And Twister looks a decent track, and you know, the eye opener for me was the last track, the title track, which I'd never heard before, which is basically him over a bank of synths that all go a little bit nuts at the end, you know. And I guess that's the big commercial stab, isn't it? That last track. I actually love it. Controversially. So, you know, I was pleasantly surprised by it. I personally think it's much better than Unconditionally Guaranteed, which is a bit of a one-paced album.
Yes, a slow.
It is. Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Steve Gibson.
This album, I found it quite a sad, tragic, and tedious listen, to be honest.
But it starts well. I mean, I hadn't heard this before. Just my own. You get into Beefheart at a certain age, late 20s, and you discover the kind of, you know, the weird stuff, and then the kind of commercial stuff, and you think, oh, and this, and then Shiny Beast, the big, you know, it all comes good again, and the mythology of it and all that. But I hadn't heard this. I've got Unconditionally Guaranteed. I've got them all on CD, but and Unconditionally Guaranteed on CD, but I never this the reputation of this is so bad that I never thought I don't want to, you know, when CDs were expensive, right? And of course since streaming I've never thought to listen to it. So this was brand new to me. But surely, Steve, you must agree that the first party of Special Things to Do, it's a good start, right?
First, like 10, 20 seconds. Yeah, I was, my hopes were raised. But then listening through it, sort of, I gave it an extra few listens because of my affection for Beefheart, but the music's just not interesting on here. It's him trying to do his thing over a pickup band, and there's no real, and I didn't find any energy to the music or anything interesting in there. I think I agree with French. I think it's quite sad and quite tragic listen, you know. And I know why I've not listened to it since I had it in the whenever it was, you know.
Did you used to own this?
Yeah. I had it. Oh, must have been early 90s or something when I was picking up stuff secondhand when you were going through my big vinyl buying days. But
What about Observatory Crest, Steve? I'm trying to find some other thing that's not just sad.
Well, it all just kind of bar the first track. It all just kind of it reminded me, to be honest with you, it reminded me more because I'm just used to, you know, Beefheart doing his sort of Beefheart thing, doing his shtick. The music reminded me of a slightly more well-honed Grateful Dead. Like listen to that Grateful Dead album we had to listen to on here. You know, it's just made me quite sad, to be honest.
It chugles along a little bit. There's a little bit of chugling, isn't there? Especially in Twist Our Luck. Oh, okay, Ross.
Yeah, I like this overall. I mean, I didn't like, and I might be getting the tracks mixed up here, but I think it's further than we've gone, where he sort of sounds like a cross between Joe Cocker and Krusty the Clown. That one I could just really just do without. But you take that track out, and I think I quite like it. I mean, I don't think it's a million miles away from his first album, and bear with me on this one, Safe as Milk, just because that first album, it's very much Los Angeles, sort of 67, 68. You can hear that sort of blues rock influence that was going around at the time. And this one is very much, if you just played this one without telling you who it was and when it was, you know this is Los Angeles around sort of 73, 74. There are parts that sound like Jackson Browne, there are parts that sound like Salva Hillman Fure. The last track, I think, is very Cat Stevens in places, and you can just hear all this stuff that was going on and was very popular at the time. And I don't know how much it was an intentional reach out to, like, people like that stuff will do that, or whether or not it was just seeping in from being part of that whole sort of LA scene at the time. And as I've said ad nauseum on this pod, that's that sort of late 60s, early 70s LA is my happy place. And so there are lots of things he taps into here, which it's just I like. I thought Observatory Crest, it's charming. It's really charming. I don't know if I've heard this album before, because there were just a couple of tracks that I just sort of thought, hang on, I've heard this. But now you said JJ Cale, okay, that's one. And I'm sure there's a cover somewhere of Observatory Crest.
There's a Mercury Rev covered Observatory Crest, and the White Stripes covered Party of Special Things to Do. So maybe that.
I think we're getting in now, because I thought that it was odd that so many Justin were thinking that I must have heard this before. So it's not a great album, but I found it highly enjoyable bar one track, and quite enjoyed my little listens to this.
Beanie, having revisited this after your original vinyl, what did you think upon revisiting it for this?
Well, I've listened to it more for this podcast than I ever had before. I mean, because I bought it.
That's the nature of this, the weird nature of the pod.
I'd listened to it before and gone, oh, there's a couple of things on there that are all right, but mostly it's kind of not what I'm, and I think it is. I think it's a confounding of expectations as much as a lack of quality or whatever. It's not the best album in the world. It's cobbled together with a backing group that the direction is not questionable. There is a kind of a goal there. I think he's been aimed towards, as Ross said, that kind of 70s like Little Feat, JJ Cale sort of area, sort of taking some of the sharper edges off the bluesy madness that he's known for. But then I really enjoyed it. I mean, I listened to it. I know I'm always the one who enjoys nearly everything, but at the same time, hear me out. Excuse me. Try not to laugh. It's that, but it's got Captain Beefheart on it, and you hear his voice. It's he's confounding expectations, because it's not what people buy Captain Beefheart records for. There's no sort of wacky time signatures. There's no real randomness. The lyrics, some of them don't really make sense, but there's none of that kind of pulling crazy imagery out of the sky, apart from maybe on the first track. But it's still, I think, a decent album. It's still better than nearly everybody else is doing at the same time. So it's, I think he's just judged harshly against his own catalogue here, and this is
that's the point.
Completely.
I think this is true of Beefheart fans generally, is that they're quite down on anything that has any kind of like melodic quality to it. Not saying like quality as in quite just a melodic essence or something that could be listenable. Everyone's like, oh Jesus, you can actually there's a tune to this.
Well, the fact that hardcore they immediately call this the tragic band. It's just like,
yeah, I mean, that's just lazy, isn't it? The tragic band. That's like, but to go through the, to pick out a couple of personal highlights, I really enjoyed that first track. Observatory Quest is great. I remember enjoying Observatory Quest when I first listened to the album, and not quite getting why, because I think it is, because I think there's something about it where I actually think it is something personal to him, and you can sort of sense it. I don't know if it's based on a story of personal experience. For once, he's actually.
I think some people always feel like that with his ballads, with his.
Yeah, I think they are, because he puts a lot into
like
them.
He's opening up.
Yeah, and there is something
when he's sort of singing. Probably think, oh, he means it, man.
Well, I think that's it. I think the thing with him, there is a sort of a vulnerability sometimes to the way he sings. For all of that kind of bluff, kind of howling wolf style, blues shouting, there is a vulnerability in there um, that I think is probably part of his, major part of his charm because he's not just uh, a kind of macho strutting kind of front man. There's a depth to him, and I think obviously that's why he endures. Um, but yeah, there's loads of great things on this track. Even like one of the laziest things, just covering a JJ Cale song. That I think that album Oki that record is off had come out the same. That song is off. Sorry, had come out like almost exactly the same time as this record. There's not there's a matter of months in it.
Yeah.
So he must have either he heard it or someone from the label said, "I'll tell you who's doing well at the moment. JJ Cale seems to be doing all right, and he's a bit bluesy like you. Have a go at this." Um, and he pulls it off. I think it's a decent version of a good song. I mean, a lot of people have covered that tune, and I've heard pub bands do it, and it's one of those ones that's done the rounds, and it's a good, solid bluesy sort of tune. I think I mean what interests me is that Captain's Holiday song. Not so much because not because it's any good, but I've been racking my brains since I've been listening to this in the last week or so, racking my brains to try to think of other albums where a band that aren't anything to do with the record at all, like none of these other guys are on any of the other songs. It's just a complete different set of musicians, and they've got one song dumped on an album. Is there another album in the history of rock music where that happens, where a band that's
Good
not
question. Yes, good question.
the only one I could really think of is on Rattle and Hum. There's that street guy singing that song, and sorry to bring you two into it, um, but on that,
Yeah.
but I think that holds together because that's actually meant to be sort of a soundtrack, isn't it? That to a film where that guy was featured in it. But I can't think of any other song, any other album where a band who are just, it's just like they walk into one song has a special guest, and it's like a bunch of blokes you've never heard of. Completely unconnected, but there is a connection, I think, because some of those guys are actually JJ Cale's backing group. I think some of that they're all like Tulsa musicians, aren't they? So I think they're all perhaps that is another record company thing. Although he said, is it on the Wikipedia entry where it said he just found a tape in the studio? I find that hard to believe because that would be
Who found the tape in the studio?
well. I think it said somewhere. Sorry, I'm just going to consult the Captain's Holiday. The track was reportedly found in a discarded reel in the studio.
Oh,
But
Completely different studio.
yeah, but I don't really know how true that. I think that's just another bit of myth making. But yeah, I think it's uh, of all of the albums I've ever listened to, that's such an enigma. That whole thing. Why is it on the bloody album? It's just obviously there's the practical reason why it's on the album because they didn't have enough material. But everything about it is just mad. But anyway, that observation aside, there's loads of good stuff on this record, and I genuinely enjoyed it. I did really like it. I think it's similar to Unconditionally Guaranteed. It's got that. It's Captain Beefheart, not at his most
it,
avant-garde or
it's got the
inspired.
wick low. It's like a low wick song album. Do you know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah,
the wick's not turned up super high. It's like a sort of a on a
yeah,
comfort
but
zone.
he sometimes
Yeah.
gets up there. There's moments in it, and I really liked it's sort of Twist of Luck. I really like that sort of
Rolling, that's a
bluesy kind of.
it's a Stones song. Twist of Luck. It's just a Rolling
It
Stones
is.
song with Beefheart.
Um,
I love it.
Excuse me. Oh, anyway, I'm gonna have to stop there because I'm having a massive coughing fit.
Okay, can
I
you
should
mute
go on
yourself,
mute.
Stevie? Mute yourself. Have a cough. Oh, look at that. This is good. Let's just watch this silently. This. Go on, Stevie. Ham it up. Go on. Sorry, we should have just talked over it. I'm just enjoying
Yes.
this performance. Very good. Yeah,
Right.
I also, I think this is brilliant. I think it's much better than Unconditionally Guaranteed. I think it starts brilliantly. I really love the cover. I think Observatory Crest is mournful and beautiful. The only thing I don't like is Captain's Holiday. I think everything else is really good. But the sort of soul ballad Further Than We've Gone works in a weird way. Lovely guitar solo at the end. Twister, I like Blue Jeans and Moonbeams. Really weird major key thing with that kind of sort of synthy coda with these kind of super dreamy slide guitars and synth. I think if this, I think it suffers for being what it is. on the timeline, and I think that had this never been released and been released suddenly, this Great Lost thing, it would be getting 5-star reviews everywhere, and we'd all go, "Oh my god, it's Beefheart with a different band, but it's still Beefheart." Because it's, and I know that lyrically, it's not his kind of surrealist poetry and his brilliant. He's a funny lyricist, right? I know that's not here, and sometimes it feels like, I think I read a quote somewhere where he felt like he was sort of pushed up to the mic and he was a bit lost, all this sort of stuff, and it's a bit sad. I don't feel that. I think perhaps he was a bit creatively a little bit lost at this period because, of course, he was desperate to make some money, to be successful. He was friends with Zappa, and Zappa was making loads of money, and Beefheart was just this kind of cult artist, clearly not a nice man, dysfunctional, gaslighting everybody, and was trying desperately. So the cover of Unconditionally Guaranteed with him looking weird, holding loads of money. Is that like Rumpelstiltskin? Is that really commercial? So I think he was obviously, he obviously felt a bit above music, didn't he? To me, he felt like a bit. I don't know. He was such. He's a one-off. He's one of those one-off people in music that, like a shooting star. And this wasn't his. But for something that was supposed to be a nadir, I thought this was just charming and lovely. And I'm really chuffed, Steve, to have stumbled upon it. Apart from Captain's Holiday, which is just utterly bizarre. I mean, I suppose it's interesting from a kind of like historical viewpoint, but anyway. So let's get to scores, favourite songs and scores. So Steve Hackett, please can I have your favourite song and your score, please?
Favourite song is Observatory Crest. I think it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's weird in a completely different way. I absolutely love that tune so much. Scores. I mean, there's a couple of Duff tracks on it. So what we're doing at 50 again, isn't it?
100, Steve, for fuck's sake.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm actually going to give it. It's badly produced.
It is. It's really badly produced.
Done for money. I'm going to give it 70. There you go.
Steve Gibson, your favourite track and your number, please.
Party of Special Things to Do. The production is awful on this, which doesn't help it. It ticked along, which is not what I want to hear when I put some Beefheart on. So I'm giving it 15.
How much?
15.
15, 15. Ross.
We seem to have done quite a few albums on this in this club where artists are trying to reach for fashionable things to have a hit, and no one ever seems to have one. I don't know. It always seems to backfire.
No, Madonna did, though. Madonna did.
Oh, that's true. I
That's true,
that
yes,
one out.
Can did, weirdly.
I stand corrected. So unfortunate for Don, as this didn't get him in the hit parade. But I go with Observatory Crest again. I like this album. I'm going to give it 65.
Stevie.
Yeah, I think this album is way better than people give it credit for, and I agree it's entirely because of the context of the record and the artist that made it and everything, its place in his canon. But I do think that if any other band had made it, or if, like you say, if it suddenly come to light as a lost album, people would love it. So and the production on it, interestingly enough, there's little production things in it that I enjoyed, like the really ringy ride cymbal in Sailor Blues. I really like that. There's like a really melodic ringy ride cymbal where any other producer would go, get rid of that, and I was like, that sounds brilliant. It's like really sounds like a cymbal.
It sounds like a 50-year-old. Sounds like an antique, something you found at a.
Yeah, there's loads of little funny touches, and there's a bit of harpsichord, and there's some fun instruments thrown in. Yeah, so for me, favorite track on this, well, between Party Special Things to Do and Observatory Crest with, so probably Party of Special Things to Do, but it's there's stuff on here that I will go back to now, having initially discounted it. So that for that. I am going to give it a 69, dude.
I am going to be almost identical to you. I thought it was I've talked about this already, so I'm just going to go to. I'm between. I'm going to go for Party. So I go on the playlist. So it's 3 for Party, 1 for Observatory, and I like you, Steenie. I'm going to give it. I can't bring myself to give it 7 out of 10 because there's lots of stuff. I will keep listening to this. I'm really chuffed I found it, and I'll keep listening to bits of it. And it's been a treat for me. One of those happy musical moments in the Question Rapping Club that don't happen very often. Let's be honest. So thank you, Steve. I'm going to give it 69 as well. So I'm just going to do the maths. So we've got a 15 plus a 70 plus a 65 plus a 69 plus a 69 equals 288 divided by 5. It's going to be high, guys. 57.6. Okay, 57.6. And let me just bring up the leaderboard. 57.6. That puts it number 5. It puts it in between Yes by Drama. Sorry, Drama, pardon me, by Yes, which has 62, and their Satanic Majesty's Request 57. So 57.6. Yeah, it's 0.6 above the Rolling Stones. So into our top 5. Thank you, Steve. Very good.
Yeah, no problem. It's good, isn't it? It's nice. I'm going to listen to it more as well. I think you absolutely nailed it when you said, you take it out of context and, it would be like some yacht rock classic, wouldn't it? It's actually a great album. Just suffers by.
I was hoping never to hear the phrase yacht rock on this podcast, Steve. So thanks for that.
Sorry, mate.
We've had 2 real clangers tonight: Yacht Rock and Joshua Tree being, or Ratman Hum or whatever. So thin ice. There's some people on some thinner ice after this one. So
we understand. We understand.
I was scratching for examples. I didn't write Rattle and Hum.
The QAC court will take all that into consideration.
QAC court. And that pushes Motorhead out of the top 10. Anyway, so it's my choice, and as both Steves know, because we went for a walk the other week, they might have a bit of an inkling into this. So I told them I was reading a book about a particular album, and I thought, oh my god, this would be perfect. I can't believe we haven't done this before. So I honestly can't.
How long is it?
It's well, it's the second most expensive album ever made. It was Steve Hackett. Steve Hackett, you've probably forgotten because you know. But you, Steve's not allowed to say. So right. So Steenie and Ross, can you guess without looking it up? It's the second most expensive album ever made. Any ideas?
The second most expensive.
Well, 2112 is it?
No.
The second most expensive album ever made.
The most expensive album ever made was Invincible by Michael Jackson, which cost $70 million plus.
Jeez.
This is the second most expensive. It didn't make it back.
Yeah.
This album has also not made it back. But what is it? Shall I give you a clue?
Yeah, go on.
You know where you are?
Oh, not Chinese Democracy.
Chinese Democracy.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
I was hoping we'd avoid this. I've been keeping very quiet. This has been on the bottom of my list because I didn't want to have to listen to it.
That's why we're here, Steenie. We're here because the albums that are on the bottom of your list, we have to. This is literally what we're here for. I can't believe we haven't done it before.
I've never heard it, and I'm in an hour whether I'm available for the date that I decide that it's going to be on. So
I've just finished this fantastic book called Magnum Opus. It's the behind the scenes story of the 15-year.
I really want to read that. It does sound amazing. Yeah.
The problem with it is because Axl Rose is so litigious. It's every little statement he makes has got so many citations, and literally about a fifth of the book is justifications for all his quotes. Oh. So everything, so it's not really gossipy. It's super full of facts and it's really worth reading, but it's not gossipy because he just knows that Axl would sue him. But it's still an extraordinary story simply for the amount of money. It's unbelievable the amount of wastage and bullshit and
it's unbelievable that they spent more on that than on Use Your Illusion because that was a double album that went forever as well.
Steenie, Use Your Illusion was 2 double albums.
Oh yes, it was. So yeah, that's
And-
you
and-
forget there was 2 double albums because I bought it on cassette at the time because I was a skint teenager.
I queued up outside Tower Records to buy Use Your Illusion.
Oh, is that woman in the tank turn up?
Not when I was there.
Was there a tank, a woman on a tank or something? I saw the photos in
Oh
Koran.
yeah, there was. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was. Yeah, it's like a yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Anyway, so that's what we're.
Steve, it's 86 minutes gone and it's 2-1.
I know it is. I know it is.
Oh, 86 2-1. Okay, well.
Mm.
Well, thanks for doing this while that's happening. So hopefully you can hang on. Thanks, guys.
Anytime. Yes.
Cheers.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone. Please like and subscribe and see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Right, take it easy.
Bye.